finally got the name settled on Creative South. Ended up getting the stuff and putting it together. And every year since then, it went from 200 to 400 to 600 to 800 to 1,000. I had 1,200 people on the bridge one year.
Wow.
And then COVID hit.
You're listening to the Angry Designer Podcast, where we help frustrated graphic designers crush the industry bull and learn what it takes to charge what you're worth and build badass, rewarding careers. In this episode, we're learning all about the world of Creative South with the one and only Mr. Big Mike Jones. You're going to learn all about his inspiring journey behind Creative South and how it grew from a local small event, which I must really stress, it started out as a local small event, to what is now a renowned and well-known design conference, not to mention foundation, and how Mike juggles his multiple roles as a designer, conference promoter, and now restaurant owner without losing his shit and the passion for the community. And you're also going to learn about the impact of a genuine connections, and community building within the creative industry and how you can apply these principles to elevate your own career. So go grab yourself a drink, relax, or hang on to that steering wheel and keep your eyes on that road, or buckle down and get to work, because this episode is packed with insights, inspiration, and stories that you are not going to want to miss. What's up, Angry Designers? So earlier this year, we were fortunate enough to go to our first design conference as the Angry Designers in full podcast form. And we met amazing people, and we met, the guy who's running this organization. And that event was unlike anything that we have ever experienced. It was amazing. And so it's only fitting that we finish off our Angry Designer Live episodes with the one and only Mr. Big Mike Jones.
The man himself.
So silly question, but where this everybody refers to you as Big Mike. Why?
I don't know. I can't put food down, apparently.
You're like 6'10".
How tall are you?
I mean,
Yeah.
he's giant.
No, I'm not 6'10". I wish I was 6'10".
Holy jeez.
I'm 6'3".
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I'm like 5'1".
I'm really tiny.
So
So
I think it's that, and I weigh like 420. So wow,
you just look like you
I'm a
should be
big
playing
dude.
football,
Yeah.
dude. Like
Yeah.
that's what
I
the thing.
did.
Like you did. Oh, you did.
Yeah, I played professional arena football for 3 seasons.
Come
before I tore my knee out.
on. No. Okay. Well, then that explains it.
holy shit,
sure.
really?
Holy cheese, right? Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
played center.
Center. Nice.
Okay. Well,
I was one of the tiniest guys out there too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when I played ball, the 2 guys that were next to me on either side of me were both like, I think one was 6'6", one was 6'8", both like 4'10", 450, something like that. Right?
Wow.
Monsters, and it could move.
Yeah.
Talking about fast.
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you for doing this. You are a hard guy to get a hold of because you're so busy. I mean, we're talking about you're a designer.
Yes.
And you've got this kick-ass creative conference, and you've got some give back foundation work, and we just found out, what did you just do? What did you just do?
Me and a buddy of mine bought a restaurant just because we've been wanting to do it for a while, and honestly, it saved a place that was near and dear to us anyway.
Yeah.
Because the previous owners, a dear friend of ours, I did the branding for the place when it opened. And so I already had ties to that, but we didn't want to see it go away, and we've been trying to figure out a way to do it, and nothing ever worked out until now. And I called my buddy Matt, and I was like, "Look, there's this great opportunity to save this place, help Ross out, but also we've been talking about forever, man. We're not getting younger. Like, let's just if the wives are cool with it, like, let's all come together and make it work." So the 4 of us were like, "Okay, cool,
Let's do it."
And
it's not just any restaurant.
Yes.
It is a.
Right. It's a hot dog place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Even though I'm Italian and I'm supposed to say pizza, my favorite guilty food, Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
You know, street
man, all
meat.
day.
You just
All
do
day.
it. I got so excited when anytime I find a good hot dog joint, it's like that's my
yeah.
dirty pleasure.
Yeah, totally.
I'm with you. Well,
Yeah.
today is National Hot Dog Day too, so just in case you were wondering.
Oh, snap. All right. Well, I
So,
guess I know what I'm
yeah.
having for dinner tonight.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you
Mike
go.
told me too. He said it was all right.
It is completely fine with me. Yeah.
So that's why, because obviously I've been following you. I follow you on Instagram, and I'm seeing some of the painting on the
Yeah.
brick. So now this is not only just for a customer, but it's also it's like a pet project. It's like it's for you.
Oh yeah, man. The fun part about was like taking a brand I did for a friend
Yeah.
that allowed me to eat for free at a place forever. That was our deal. Like, all right, cool, I'll do it. But like when I come in, you just like don't charge me. So I've been doing that for years, and to see it still there, still thriving, but then be able to take the brand back. And how do I elevate it moving forward? How do I add to it? How do I make merch for it? How do I do all these things? And that's been kind of a fun, pet project at night. Just when I'm tooling around watching TV, I'm like, well, how do I update the cart? How do I update the sign out front? How do we take down some stuff that, was working for Ross, but we want to do a little different version of, like the ghost sign on the wall, called a buddy of mine, Chris Johnson. I was like, hey, can you do me a solid and come in here and just throw this on the wall before we open? Because we think it'll really add to the ambience of the alley. And what's cool about this place, and I know it ties all back to design and aesthetics and everything, is the building used to literally be the alley between two buildings.
Amazing.
That's why it's called Frank's Alley. And so when
awesome.
they just closed the roof in the back and put a new floor and all that in, and then cleaned the brick up. But like when you walk in, there's a full dumpster there for the trash can. There's a payphone. There's a sewer grate. There's a fire hydrant. And it's like you're walking into an alley with a cart in there.
That's incredible.
And there's a balcony where it looks like somebody lives back there in the back. And it's pretty fun. We're going to keep adding to that ambient vibe of an actual alley. But it's been a fun design project. Like, I'm reaching out to other design buddies. I'm like, hey, man, you want to do some merch for this? Like, can we come up with a cool hot dog character? Like, all these things, and just having some fun with it.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to see the merch. I need that merch in my life.
When it comes out, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So how is it different than like designing for yourself versus a customer then?
I mean, there's no rules.
Yeah.
None.
You are the client.
Yeah, I like if I like it, it'll go. If Matt's cool with it, like, we'll just do what we want to do.
So you figure this less pressure? There's obviously, or does
there's
it add
no
a whole
pressure.
new-
It's all fun. It's just like, okay, I go do my day job, crush Heyo, love it. Let's go Heyo, and do some awesome stuff there. And then when I'm playing video games at night with Matt, or hanging out with my fam, or watching TV, or whatever it is, and an idea hits me, I can just get my sketchbook out and mess around. There's no timeline. There's no rules. It's just like when I want to design something for fun, I've got an outlet. If as a group, as a team at Heyo, if we ever want to just design something one day on a Friday when we're not doing client work, and we want to work on something that's just fun as a group, now we have an outlet that's like, well, let's just go mess around with that. There literally is nothing better than having the freedom to just kind of go, okay,
buddy, that would
everything's
be
good to go.
incredible.
It's fun. It's been interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I like how I like what I'm hearing, just as an outlet, as a group project.
It is.
Like it's it's like if we came up with our own line of skateboards, and on a Friday afternoon, it's like, hey, everybody, let's have fun. Dude, that would rock.
And that's the beauty of, I mean, harping again, like, I love where I work, because on Fridays, like I said, we don't do client work. It's all about, how do you grow yourself as a designer? Like, what do you need to add to your arsenal? Or is there an internal project that we all want to work on together that kind of brings us together, as a whole, and lets us take all of our skill sets into, like, maybe a charity project or an internal project or whatever. And so we do that every Friday.
Yeah. That's incredible. So your event, your org, everything about you is so different because it's all about community. It's all about collaborate. So much of this space. So, I mean, okay, I've been in this forever. And I remember when we started, everybody held their cards close to their chest. Nobody was sharing. It was a miserable place to be. Where now it's like, 20 years later, 25 years later, and it's amazing because there's resources everywhere. There's people like you who are, why hold anything? I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this podcast, is to give it out. Have you always been like this?
Yeah, man, I love people.
Yeah.
I love people. I love serving other people. I feel like that's kind of my calling. With like, anybody that knows me knows that I'm big in my faith, and so like my freelance studio that I just do side projects for is called Serve for a reason, and it's like
Very
First
cool.
Peter 4:10. Serve others with the talents God gave you, and so that's what I want to do. Like God gave me this talent of creating and drawing, and just the ability to see things that some people don't see, and I want to take what I know how to do, and whether it's give back to a charity, give back to my church, give back to the community, build community, help another buddy with a design, or do something for my kids, or whatever it may be. Like I have that skill set for a reason, and has allowed me to help a lot of people, but it's also allowed me to make a good living.
Yeah. And what's ironic is the power of that talent and the way you're using it and how different it is, and like the effect it's having on everybody else, everybody who comes to your events, who touch you, talk to you, who speak with you, versus how other people are using their talents, which are purely selfish, which are just, to make money, to monetize, to become the big shot.
Yeah.
Like you are not about you, yet you are one of the most loved and like talked, highly regarded people I know. Yeah. And you are completely the opposite of everybody else out there. So
man, I don't know. I just like it. A hug can go a long way in changing somebody's day, and I can learn so much more over having a meal with somebody. And so that's like kind of why my life mantra is hug necks and break bread. Yeah, like I want to love on people. Period. Yeah. However that looks, and if I can help you in any way, I'm not just saying that. Like if you call me up, you need my hoodie I'm wearing. You need it more than I do, or you wouldn't ask for it. It's yours. Take it. Like I'll get another one. Whatever. Like if we could just do that more to each other, like how much better would the world be?
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And somehow you're finding a way to do that using graphic design, using design.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, I think you're succeeding.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I appreciate it. I'm not perfect by any means.
Yeah,
but
no.
I definitely I try my best. So.
Yeah. Well, my first interaction with you, period. Okay. Didn't even know who you were. Didn't even know who you were. Okay.
Yeah.
Was we were at Lincoln's conference.
Yeah, Into the Woods. Which was fantastic, by the way. They crushed it. It was awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. And again, we were all in the eating hall, wherever that was. You walk by wearing the t-shirt, like the branded t-shirt that's on your hat right now. And I was just like, that's an amazing. I just literally out loud, I'm like, that's an amazing t-shirt. I loved it. And you're like, thanks. You want one? I'll get you one. And I was like, yeah, I'll take one. You're like, okay, I'll find you. Sure enough, 2 days later, you show up and you give me you don't know anything about me. You don't know. And I think afterwards, even later that night, you're like, after drinks, you're like, so what's your deal? Why are you even here? Who are you?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm not as connected as I need to be. But
dude, and it's not. And the funny thing is, and our conversation was just about design. It was nothing else. And then sure enough, you reach out like 6 months later being like, hey, I love your podcast.
Yeah, because somebody told me who you were after that. And I was like, oh my God. I talked to him at the thing. It was hilarious.
It's that guy.
Yeah. Like, it's all coming together.
Right. And that's what I was like, well, I owe you for that shirt, so I'd love to. And you're like, oh, that was you?
Yeah. That's
amazing, right? But I mean, again, until that time, like again, we didn't know what Creative South was about. But what and I can say this, through and through, what a life-changing experience. Yeah. Like that day we did a podcast. We totally did a full podcast that we ran on the power of community and what an event like that does for this industry.
That's awesome.
I mean, like, okay, well, let's back up here. How did this even start? Because I mean, you've been at Creative South now for a few years with the event itself. Like, where did this even come from?
I mean, Creative South's been around for 14 years. We've had 12 events. We just finished the 12th one that you guys were at. When I was in corporate America, I would get sent to conferences that I wanted to go to all the time. So it's like, where do you want to go? There's budget, go. So I think I've been to 10 Adobe Maxes, something like that. And I would just go to these bigger conferences, and they're great. You get a lot out of them. You meet a lot of cool people. There's just not, because there's so many people there, like, 12, 15,000 people, there's not a lot of like real conversation. You're going to have a little bit of time at lunch and a little bit of time in passing, and maybe whoever you're sitting next to in your workshop, whatever. But there's not like real connection, right? There's not real that kind of stuff. So I was going to those and I was feeling like there could be more to it than that. And I ended up finding a conference in Cleveland called Weapons of Mass Creation Fest. It was so fun. And we all just called it Weapons for short. And it was started by Jeff Finley a long time ago. And the year that I went was year number 2. And it was 20 designers giving talks, 20 designers in an art show. And there was like 40 punk bands, live breakdancing. Like it was a great fest. Like it was a great time.
Yeah.
And there was probably 2,000 people went through it through the weekend, like over the course of the weekend. It wasn't like you were just like, a lot of us were there for the whole weekend if you traveled in, but like, because those were bands, they would have their following come through. You know, it was like a mix of local and people from afar.
So cool.
Right.
But great time. And I fell in love with going to Cleveland and met some amazing friends of mine from up there. And I would go every year. And Creative South, when I got back from that year, I got home and I had been to Max also, and it was later in the year, and I looked at what our town was doing and how the downtown scene was then, which is nothing like it is now. It was a lot less than it is. And just was like, man, we could probably do something like this here, like, but a different way. Like, how do we do it a little differently? And so I called a buddy up and was like, hey, you want to do this thing? I'm thinking about starting something. And so we got together, and the very first one we had wasn't even downtown. It was on Airport Thruway, which means nothing to you guys. It's a little another road, like at a DoubleTree hotel in the conference room. I had no money, no budget, no nothing. I had 2 speakers that I barely could afford to have them here. I think I only paid for their flights, and I couldn't pay for their meal. I didn't have nothing. And we had 45 people show up.
Wow.
And I think tickets were like $25 or just like something like that.
But
But
you took a little bit of a loss.
but it took like to plan that, and it was a half a day.
Yes.
To plan that half a day, to be away from my wife and kids and do all these meetings and try to figure this out with 2 people and, volunteer, maybe a couple of buddies helping out here and there. It was like, man, I think we spent a month trying to figure out how to do a half a day event. And then we got done and we were like, we did this thing. We're so great. And then, I look back on it and I kind of smile because it was like, wow, okay. That was a lot of work for that one thing. And then the next year we had 4 speakers, a different location, and we had about 65 people show up, but we had enough money in the bank to feed them lunch. So I was like, we're going places, we're stepping it up. And then after that, it went from 65. The third year we had Draplin and Signal Noise and it was getting some traction because that was the year that we actually started calling it Creative South.
Yes.
And 200 people showed up there. It was like the very, very first year. It's all Creative South when I look back at it. But the very first year we called it Artist Roundup.
Okay.
And the second year it was the Columbus Creative Design Conference, because the thought was if we make it sound more corporate, and we'll get more corporate sponsorship.
Okay, fair.
That is not the case.
A little bit there. You're trying to sell out.
We're trying to figure out how to pay for it, and then when we settled on the name, like finally got the name settled on Creative South, we were sitting at a coffee shop, and one of our volunteers she knits. She's a knitter, and Holly. She's been with us for the entire time we've been around, and she's like, "Well, I'm part of this knitting thing called it was something north. It was like Knitter South or something." And she was like, "What if we called it Creative South?" And we're like, "Dude, go by the name." And so we went out and got all the things. It wasn't available. Somebody was sitting on it and sat on it. And so when we tried to buy it that day, I think it was $500 for the domain name, and we were just like, "There's no way I'm paying $500 for a flipping domain name for nothing." But different, like now I'm like, I wish I had bought it for $500. But it ended up anyway. We ended up getting the stuff and putting it together, and every year since then, it went from 200 to 400 to 600 to 800 to 1,000. I had 1,200 people on the bridge one year, and then COVID hit, and then it kind of like put a halt on everything. And then coming back from COVID, the first two times kind of felt off. Like we were back, but it just still felt off. Like, because, people were still masking up. People were still keeping their distance. And I'm a hugger. So like we had a wristband system that got put in place to, like, what level are you comfortable with? And I'm like, look, I'm on green because I'm going to get COVID. I don't care. I'm going to hug your neck. Like, just bring it in. Bring in all the COVID to me and give me the COVID, And I ended up getting it twice. But whatever. It was totally worth it, I guess.
It was worth it, man.
For you, but damn.
For the hugs. But, in hindsight, I probably should have done it better. But we did what we could to keep it going and keep it safe and keep it positive place. And so, last year, or this past year, the one you guys were at, we were talking afterwards and noticed that this was the year that it truly felt like the vibe truly felt like it was pre-COVID.
Beautiful.
And so like we started feeling like, man, this is us again. Like it's still us, but like it was just more of it. Like there was something special about that year, this past year, that just really felt like pre-COVID, and it was so nice. And so,
but it was awesome.
That's how it came about, honestly. And just to double back, after the conference got really popular, I went back and bought that domain name, and it cost me
for how much?
It cost me $3,000.
Oh,
yeah. So I was like,
I get it.
I should have bought. I should have ate the $500.
Yes,
I should have ate it, but whatever. You live and learn, and I won't make that mistake again. But that's kind of how it formed, and the reasoning behind it was, how do we have more FaceTime? As human beings, we need to have more sit down, more face to face. We're built for that,
Yes.
We're built for conversation. We're built for fellowship and relationships. Not just like, I don't want to network with you, right? Like that's, to me, is like, here's my card. I might call you, I might not. Thanks for your information. Cool to meet you. Have a nice day. Not that that's a rude or bad thing. If that's how you want to do it, go do you. That's great. But for me, the people that I want to do business with, the people I want to do life with, like, I want to get to know you, the person. Like, I want to know more about like your family, your hobbies, your, passions, your this, your that, your appreciation for design, whatever it may be. And I'm going to do that over a meal.
Yeah.
Or a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever, a nice glass of whiskey, something. We're going to get to know each other. If I'm building relationships, but I'm also infusing Southern hospitality, I'm feeding you well, I'm hugging your neck, like I'm showing you, I'm putting all this inspiration in front of you. That's the whole point of Creative South. How do we take all those things, put them in one place, and have you leave with a core group that you miss and talk to every year, all year long? And how do you get inspired with those folks? And how do you do business with those folks? And how are you sharing projects with them? And at that point, like, I've heard so many stories of, came to Creative South, met so-and-so, went home, started a company. Came to Creative South, met so-and-so, married them. There's dude, weddings have come out of here, babies. Like, I've had kids named after me. I've been in best man at people's weddings. It's wild.
Wow,
it's
dude.
wild.
Well,
and so it started off as an event, and became a community.
Yes.
And so the tagline is, "Come as friends, leave as family."
And I honestly feel like our bonds with, we knew some of the people that we were coming with, right? Like, obviously we had met Christy before, right? We've met James before, right? We knew them going into this. We laughed as like we were just now, Christy, we've been in touch with 3 or 4 times since, right?
Yeah.
Same with James, where things are at a different level. How many people we met at that show that, are still reaching out to us in our podcast, or reaching out to us on email, or asking for this, or helping with that. It's incredible, dude. Like, it's fun. You've got something very special here, and it is pretty apparent. Like, did you know this going into it, or was this kind of like it happened, it evolved based on who you are?
No, it wasn't one of those things like, this is exactly how it's going to go. No, it was like, I want to do a thing.
Yep.
Let's go do a thing. And I'm just going to treat people like I've been taught how to treat people, right? I'm going to love on them. I'm going to feed them. I want to inspire them. And if that's good, then they'll come back. And so that it's just basically, if you take my personality and put it into an event and then make it into a community, that's kind of why you go there. Like, unlike, and I'm not saying it just doesn't happen. It always happens more so when I'm at an event, because I tend to like bring that out, I guess. And people is like, I'm a hugger, right? I want to hug next. I think this is just, it's something about it that makes it changes the day of.
It's like your email name, isn't it? Hugnecks@.
It should be. It should be. But no, I think it's just a lot of that, and it ended up being. It carried over to everyone that was here, and it's just kind of stayed with it. And all the other personalities that we've added through the years, like Andrew and Peter and Rob and Lenny and Holly and Matt and all the folks that help, like Miss Diane, and like there's so many that help behind the scenes, but adding all of their personalities in, because they kind of all agree with me on like this is how we treat people. It just makes it even better every year. Yeah. So I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
No, totally.
It's that special sauce that it just comes out in your event, right?
Thank you.
I mean, dude, think about it. We had the youngest guest ever on our podcast, little Sophie.
She's such a sweetheart.
Right? Yeah. She was like 10 years old, and she was so sincere with her advice and everything. And I found out during that podcast, it was the year before she won an award from you. So talk about that, dude. Like, again, who does that?
Well, I mean...
No, and good on you.
I don't know. The point about it was like somebody gave to me, right? Like somebody invested into my career as a creative, whether it was my professors, whether it was my mentors, whether it was other buddies, whether it was, friends through Creative South, whether it was family. People have always invested in me with my skill set and what I wanted to do for a living, and given me tons of opportunity. And so because I've had the opportunity, I've been able to do a lot of cool things. I've been able to buy restaurants and buy soccer teams and play this and do that and go here and go there. So the thought is, I've had those opportunities. So how do we give them to people who haven't gotten those opportunities yet, or that are struggling to get through or need a little help going to the next level? And so the point with the foundation was come together, have some endowments that not only support our local college program, but also other like just as a broad sense of people that are kids that want to go do what we do. Yes. How do we help them do that? And so when we got into giving the scholarships away, that's easy because there's 100 college kids that come every year and that do a portfolio review. And it was like, well, that's an easy give. But then I started noticing, and this ages me, but when I started Creative South, my kids were in like young kids, like not toddlers, but like 6 to 9 to 10, whatever. And then my youngest son had just been born into this. And so to put it in perspective, he was just born and now he's 13. Right. So to watch somebody young come up, and then to see like Von Glitchka, his kid, when he was my very first speaker at the very first Creative South on our 10-year anniversary, I had him come back and be our first speaker that year. But he brought his daughter, who was 24, who is also a designer and works with him now. She was 14 the first time he spoke on stage, and now she's coming back to start the next generation. So what's happening is all these people that I've had on stage have been having kids and families and whatever, and now their kids are starting to come up, right? So like Harrison is a dear friend of mine who shares this office with me, with Lee Snow and Alan. All of us are creatives, and Sophie's his daughter. And so I got introduced to, through the friendship we have. And then he's like, she's into this, she's into that. She started doing this brand and so because she was doing all these things as a kid, we're like, well, how do we honor, we were sitting around talking in the foundation office, like, how do we honor the next, not the college kids, but like, now that we have younger kids coming, because she's not the only kid that's shown up. We've had several kids come through, like Dom and his sister. I don't know. Y'all didn't get to meet them this year because they couldn't make it, but you should see them next year. Great, great people. How do we honor that generation, like coming up behind them? And so what we did is we decided to come up with a foundation award that honors kids that are like 10 to 13 that are like, we'll try to find somebody in the community that's like doing something cool or that's working hard or that has a passion for art and do it. So Sophie was the first recipient of that because she got out there with her dad and like started her own apparel line and brand. And she's like so into it and like just her personality. And I was like, Harrison, dude, we want to buy her an iPad and an Apple Pencil and give her this award. And it didn't have a name. It was just like, whatever, we're just going to give her the iPad. And so we awarded it to her. And so this year we had another kid in mind who had won a kid version of Ink Wars that we had hosted the day before Creative South started.
Cool.
He participated with 4 other kids in front of his entire school. He won. He was the kid that was working with me, but he won. And so we called his folks like, hey, we want to honor him. Can you get him down here? We want to put him on stage. We got an award for him that's past what he won at the school. We just want to honor him. And said, I went to Sophie and I was like, listen, you won last year's award, so you're responsible for naming this year's award.
Brilliant.
And you have to go on stage and present it to him. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so she rolled it though. She named it, nothing to it, and got up there and just crushed it, man.
Yeah.
Like,
how cool
hold
is
on.
Dude, you started something.
Sorry,
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah.
She
Sorry.
was laser focused, that kid.
She was, and she got on stage, and right before it was time to go, she's like, all right, here's the name and here's the thing. And I was like, cool. So got there, and I got this great picture of the 3 of us when she handed the award to him. And DJ was just like beyond words. He didn't even know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
And the story of that kid was just warm your heart. It was a good day for that.
It was a good day.
It was fun to be. It's fun to be able to do that. That's what I'm saying.
So Creative South Foundation spawned out of the Creative South Design Conference, or
Yes.
after so many years, you're like, hey, we need to do something better and keep it going all year round type idea, or how'd this happen?
Yeah, it was more of like, how do we take what we built and how do we give back to the kids that are coming behind us in what makes sense? And what made sense was like, let's start a foundation. It raise some, make some endowments. Those endowments end up paying scholarships. And how does that also help the college here? How do we tie back into that? How do we do more community events throughout the year? Like Creative South Foundation can like help pay for the events that we do that are Creative South. Eventually, Creative South will be it's 2 separate entities now.
Yeah.
I'd like the conference to basically be absorbed by the foundation. The foundation puts the conference on.
Yep.
It's kind of the way, but that's a very tricky, way higher than my pay grade situation on like figuring out how to do that properly. So we're working on it, but it's a slow process. So we're separate right now. Yeah.
It does seem like the progress of this, the way it's going right
For
now.
sure.
The two,
Which just
right?
will allow us, 100%.
But now, how do you throw that in the mix between your now hot dog restaurant and your freelance gigs
Busy
and then
boy.
working where you are? Like, I mean, dude, where do you find the time for all this?
So everybody asks me that, how do you have time to do anything? So there's 2 ways I can answer that. 3 actually.
Chat
First way
GPT
is,
better not be part of that.
It's not at all. Not at all. That's funny. The first one is my wife said, you've dreamed a lot. You've done a lot. Take a break. So let's just hold off on some dreams for a while and we'll do some other things. So I promised her that would be it for a bit. The second one is you got to surround yourself with the best people possible, right? So whatever you're not good at, get those people in the mix that are great at it and let them own it. Let them, Peter and Andrew and Rob and all these folks that I mentioned earlier, like they're experts at what they do and they're great at what they do for Creative South. So it's like, hey, can you please take this off my plate and do what you do? And so find those people, bring them in. If it's at a company, find people that do it better than you and hire them. That's how you're going to make a better situation for everyone. That's how you'll grow or make something really great. And the second thing is one that's not great to say, but at some point you have to decide what you're going to give up to do the things you want to do.
Fair.
For me, it was sleep. It was sleep. And so
Natural choice.
And I don't recommend that. Like the older I get, I'm 46. The older I get, the more I value it.
You value it.
And the more I'm like, maybe I won't stay up till 4 a.m. tonight. I'm not saying I don't go to bed late, but here lately, I really want to try to do more early mornings.
Yep.
And early, like turn in early, get up really early, and still have the offset of there's no noise, but it's early morning quiet instead of late night quiet. But those are that's kind of it on how I've managed to do all these things. And I mean, I have a great spouse and great kids and great family. So it's like all that combined with all the people that have helped me over the years. I couldn't be more thankful for those folks.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is, I mean, I don't know how much you realize it or not, but you're not only inspiring, people who come to your show and who listen to you speak and who know you, but I mean, just the effect it's having on your family and your children is amazing. I mean, I met your son before I met you, which is amazing. And the cool part is, I don't know if you know this, but he came by a couple times and asked us how we were doing at the podcast, and if we were enjoying the show. And I'm just like,
Nice.
this is little Mike. Like, this is
that's
amazing. And it's just the fact that again, and you can see it's a huge part of who he's going to be and your children and everything. So, I mean, that's a really important thing, right? Well, fair enough. But I mean, what you're putting out though is positive vibes, positive energy out to the community, which I never realized how important it was until Creative South. And
Thank you.
Even at the very least, even if they don't even if they're accountants,
Yeah.
Right?
They'll be the
An
best
accountant.
damn accountants.
let's hope they're not going to be creative accountants, but at the same time, they're going to understand what's right, community, and they're going to get this from you, man. So, again, you're starting something special here.
Dude, I married an accountant.
Oh, shit. We couldn't have been more close on that one.
Oh my God, your son might go either way then.
There you go. You've got a creative accountant on your hands.
Dude, like, when I said get people that do the best, like, she manages all of our money, man. I mean,
Yes.
like, it's
That's
spot on.
amazing.
She's awesome. She's awesome. That's hilarious.
So, okay,
Oh, man.
now
Too
with
funny.
Creative South, so you are a awesome person. What's it like then hustling, like, to get guests on your show? Because over the years,
Yeah.
you've had some awesome people like Draplin absolutely oozes your show. His personality, his vibe, everything he says, right? Some of the other guests you have probably been very business mindset. Maybe not that they don't suit your idea, your mantra, but they come from a different angle. What's that been like?
It's interesting. Every year we kind of do a retreat to the kind of core group gets together and gets, I don't know, we get Post-it notes out and we start putting names on the wall and kind of going through, like, who do we want to have? Who do we promise already? Who do we, who is Mike promised already? And there's like 1,000 notes over here. They give me such a hard time about that every year. And it's so true. It's so true because it's so easy to, like, have a conversation at a conference and be like, yes, let's do this. But I'm going to honor, like, if I tell you that, I'm going to do my very best to honor it every way I can. So, but we sit around, we have that. And then we what we've been doing lately is going down and going, okay, what topics does the community want to hear? And then who in the community do we really want to get can speak on those topics very well. So, like, this year was really easy to go, okay, we want to do this, and go down and put notes under those folks. But then as a promoter, you got to really make sure you're doing your best to make the lineup as well rounded as it can be. So we've tried our best to do that over the years, and I think we've done a pretty good job, and we'll keep doing what we can. But that's usually how it ends up. It's changed over the years, because when I started it way back when, it was like, what designers do I want to meet? Like, literally. And it was, who do I want to meet? Let's get them here and let's meet them, Yeah. So that's how that, like with Drappin, I just called him up like, hey, man, like, you don't know me, but I'd love to meet you, and I'd love to have you at this thing. Can I fly you out here and do whatever? And now he's a friend of mine, and it's, it's hilarious because his personality. He's
Absolutely.
He's a riot. He's a riot.
Yeah.
Well, he suits your vibe, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh man, he's good.
let me ask you, who's more difficult? Designers that you have as guest speakers or customers?
Ooh. You mean like customers in design or customers in food?
Customers in design or designers for the conference?
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. No, the people that are speaking at Creative South are always
awesome.
They're pretty easy, man. Like, because at the end of the day, you're doing me a favor, right? Yes, you get an honorarium and you get your hotel and flight and all these things are covered because we want to take care of you, right? We know you're taking time out of your busy schedule to become part of our family. So I'm going to take care of you. So that's pretty easy, especially if I get to have a meal with you, it's a done deal because I'm going to put some good food in your belly, and that's that. And that's easy. So let's go with And I don't want to say clients because you never know who's listening. My clients are great.
Yeah, of course.
Let's go.
As are ours.
Aren't they? It's the best. They're the best. But make the logo bigger. All right. You know,
That says it all. Okay.
that says it all.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so true.
Jeez. So you referred to yourself as something interesting earlier, which I don't know if you realize or not, but you referred to yourself as a promoter, not
I
necessarily
guess.
a designer. Do you feel like you're slowly being pulled out of that designer role and now stepping into this whole new Mike? I mean, besides, hot dog restaurant owner Mike, do you feel like that now you're slowly going to be pulled away into one and then become the promoter for your event, for the foundation, for your bigger cause?
I think I will when I get closer to retiring, right? Like I'm not anywhere near that now. I love to design. And I think even if I do move that direction eventually, like years and years and years and years from now, I'll still design because it's in the blood. Like once you figure it out and you figure out that you love it and what part of it you love, like there's nothing that's going to stop me from picking up a pencil and putting some stuff in my sketchbooks. I probably got 60 sketchbooks that are full because I keep nice analog stuff with me all the time, but not including my iPad. So I think I mean I'm not going to do that now. Like I'm a promoter because that's part of the job. But I love design. I do that for a living. I want to continue to do that for a living. But I also love people. So like the restaurant's just an added bonus of serving other people. The conference is the same way. It's an outlet to bring community together. The foundation is an outlet to bring students to professionals and have them like interact and have a little money there to help them go to the next level to become what we already are. So it's all about design facilitates the ability to do all of those things. Right? That puts food on our table. That puts the bills, that gets the bills paid. That allows me to do all these extra things that tie community back to me. So, I don't think it's going anywhere.
Dealing with, so as a designer, okay, and then you're meeting the likes of Droplin and, like you're having these huge people that, on your stage and then become friends. Does it become intimidating at all?
Not really. I mean, no.
Cool. Nice.
I mean, I've met famous people before.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm sure people have stories. Oh, I ran into so-and-so or I got introduced to and sometimes people flip out about that. Like, at the end of the day, that's just another person. They just have way more money than me. Yeah. Right? Fair. Like, or way more status. And it's saying they still put their pants on one leg at a time. They still like have faults that we have. Like, they're just a person. So at the end of the day, like, the way I believe, I'm called to love on that person, right? To show them love, to hug their neck, to like just be available to serve, whatever. Like, so I don't care so much about status. I think it's cool because I got buddies that are, rocking crazy numbers. Like Lee Snows, that's right across from me. Dude has like 1.9 million followers on TikTok. Wow. He's just Lee. Like, it's just my buddy Lee. Like, we're not like all his entourage. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just like, hey man, that's awesome for you. Can you do my social media? Can you run these accounts? Help us out. That's a resource. Yeah, and that's the thing though. It's like a lot of the people though that are in those positions that aren't like movie star famous, but are design famous. Every one of them, I would say that I've ever met, that I've come in contact with, has just been like the most down to earth, chill, nicest folks that just treat me like a normal person, and vice versa. Just want to be treated like a normal person. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. So then, so with that being said, how have you noticed over the past 14 creative styles?
It's 12, but
12. Okay. How have you noticed the change then in design talent, in designers in the space over, because this is a substantial amount of time you've had to evolve your conference to, and you're right there. I'm sure your first guests probably had 10,000 followers on something called Instagram back then, right? Like, how do you see, what has that evolution been like?
It's definitely different. I mean, social media plays a huge role in all of it, all of our lives, and all the way that we do design, the way we showcase our work, the way we do our work, the way we see inspiration, all of those things. So I think it's changed it somewhat. I mean, I think students are students, to me, the biggest change is that I've noticed, and maybe I'm just not paying attention enough, but is you'll have folks come right out of school wanting to be, I'm just going to start an agency. I'm just going to you know what? I'm full-time freelance. I'm like, well, dude, if you can do that, by all means, rock that out. But like for me, and just as an advice for somebody who's been doing design for 23 years, maybe, just maybe, you would benefit from the expertise of working for a Fortune 500, working for another agency, working for a small time company, get your feet wet in all the different aspects of your industry, and then go, well, I hate all that. I want to start my own thing.
There you go.
Because now you have the experience. You put the time in. Like, that's just my advice to students. Because a lot of times students like, I'm coming out the gate and I'm the next Draplin and I'm the next whatever and I'm the next, and not realizing that we've all put the time. We've been doing this for decades.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, we have been doing this for decades. Right? Sure. So it's maybe some of the younger folks could listen to some of the older folks' advice. I'm not saying you have to take it. I'm just saying it's there, and we're willing to give it out if you're willing to hear it.
Yep.
And then you do what you want with it. I've noticed that change, and lately the silent Instagram stuff's been kicking up pretty good for people. I guess that's a good thing. I just don't post enough. Personally, I a lot of the stuff that I do for social, I like to share my work, but like a lot of the memories I do are mine. So like it's like family stuff. I don't really post a lot of family stuff, not because I don't share it, but like those are my memories. They're specific to like me and my family. So I kind of try to keep that side of it to myself. But other than that, I mean, everybody gained more followers because we're all just getting older. Really,
you're right.
I don't really. Other than that, I don't really know.
Experience.
People are like you said earlier, and people are sharing their process readily. Yes. But I've always been open to that. Like, somebody taught me how to do it. I'm willing to share everything I know how to do, because my version of art and y'all's version of art is complete. Like how we see something is completely different. So if I give you the technique, like here's how I built the monogram, you're going to go take what I taught you to do, and you're going to apply it to what you see and do it your way.
Right. Unless
you're just straight ripping me, you know, other than that, I'm glad to share what I know how to do, because you're going to use it differently than I do, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's personal kind of thing. You know,
100%.
Does something different. You know, they're trying to copy it, but you end up doing something different just by accident, almost, because it's your own style, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And there's plenty of work out there for everybody.
Yeah. Agreed. Do you think the expectations are a little different on the new designers versus seasoned designers?
I like that. Seasoned.
Like how do you mean?
Well, like you just said, how they're coming out and they're feeling like they can rock it just because they graduated. Where, it takes so much more to be able to rock it and be a Draplin, or to be, like Alan Peters, or to be like James Bernard, or anybody, James Martin, like. Do you feel that right now design, or maybe because of all the influence of everything that they're seeing online, making it seem so easy, has now given these new designers a sense of entitlement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it is become easier for them. They didn't have, I didn't have the same technology 20 years ago that they have now to be able to go, auto-generate crap in the background. There's none of that. There was none of that back then. And having
the resources, making it easier, though?
It makes it a lot more time effective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. They're not spending hours on something that I would have spent hours on.
Yeah.
I think it definitely gives them a sense of design comes easier than it did for when we started. That's with any profession. I mean, that could be any profession that has grown over 2 decades. I equate it to that because that's how long I've been doing it. Everything grows and changes. So it probably makes it easier. It's more of just a not forgetting where you came from kind of mentality. I feel like a lot of younger designers don't care so much about where things were, because they do have it all in front of them.
Right.
So it's it is probably easier. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
no, I mean, they definitely have the tools.
They have the tools.
They have
available.
Every tool on the planet, and I want them to do well. I'm not trying to slight anybody. I just think
of course, absolutely not.
If you take a step back and maybe find mentors that are older than you and really listen to what they have to offer, and then use what you want to use from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because you know what I find, so again, we're still actively working, of course, as you are.
Yeah.
And AI is great. It is huge. It's massive, but it's still a tool. And it is not a solve all. I mean, I've been working on a project for the past 2 weeks, and although I would love AI to generate this image perfectly how I want, trust me, and I've been trying. And I'm pretty active in it, but it won't. It won't do it. So I've still while it maybe helped with my background image, I had to have multiple layers of images on top. I had to do that manually, old school. And I had to find my own images, add them, and the final product, it looks awesome. But it still wasn't there. So I still applied my experience and knowledge to the problem. My concern is if people are now, instead of doing that, if they're going to apply the technology to the problem and have less of a solution. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? That sounds crazy.
I think you're going to have people that do.
Yeah.
That because all right, think about the folks now that are calling themselves designers, have zero training, don't have any of the traditional tools, and they're just building stuff in AI, and they're like, I'm a designer.
That hurts.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really? Like I can type on a keyboard too, but I'm not calling you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a real fine line there to where you go
prompt design.
You've put
design.
Right. There you go. Come on.
I know, right?
You just coined the new.
Hey, we just lived through it.
Yes,
that's what happened with UX and UI and C. Dude, we lived through it, right?
Yes.
2 decades. You know. It's happening.
It is, and I'm not saying you shouldn't adopt it. Like you got to be in it. You got to adopt the tools.
Yeah.
Use them for what they're supposed to be for, and you're gonna see things happen. That's just part of everything growing.
There's something to be said about, like what you said, 60 sketchbooks full of ideas. Do you know what I mean? Like there's something old school and beautiful about that kind of thing,
I think it's even goes a step even above that. Not even just old school, but he's still thinking for himself.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like that's the old school method of thinking.
Right? And I think that's what might rob creativity is people might start using these tools to think for them. And they're going to limit their potential. And that's what worries me. Because even my kids, they question me all the time. They're like, Dad, why do I have to learn English? I mean, I can just put it into chat and it'll get me. I'm like, dude, no.
Google does
but
all
what
my
happens
spelling.
if, all the power goes out and you have to think, figure, you got to make a sign for somebody and the tools we have now are gone.
Yeah.
Not that would ever happen, but like, I'm glad that I still know how to do it all by hand. Right? Like, I'm just saying, like, there's something about that you should learn every bit of it, whether you use it every day or not.
You're right.
Learn how it was done before you, right?
Yes.
Like I went through, when I started design, I worked at a commercial print house as
brilliant,
running like pre-press and learn how to make plates and learn how to run small presses and like learning how to color, how to do colors and like all the things for commercial printing, because now that I know how to do it, it stayed with me for my entire career. So when I send files off and package them up to a commercial printer, they don't have to like do all the stuff everything's ready to go because I already know how to do it. So like learning those things, and I'm just using that as an example, but like learning those things and like maybe just slow down a little bit and think about what's the real solution behind the problem that's been presented to me to solve.
Yeah.
And I like to personally do that on paper. Like I can get so much more done, or my iPad too, but like mainly just a hardbound sketchbook, Moleskine. That's what I like. Just boom, and just draw and draw and draw and get those ideas going. Yeah, there's something about that just feels like I have crafted this thing for you versus throwing a bunch of pixels on a screen and calling it a day. Like, and that's great. It's part of the process, but I feel like you're missing a step if you're not putting your ideas out first.
And there's something zen about that too.
It is, right? Man. I could sit there and draw forever.
I've been doing that more often, and it's just like it's such a I don't know what it is. It like takes you back to a different time or something. Yeah,
definitely. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, though, do you think that customers will start devaluing design more so because of they're not going to care about what we care about. They're not going to care that Mike's got 60 sketchbooks that we still solve the problems. They're not looking for the ultimate solution?
Yeah.
Could they just be looking for a better solution than the situation they have?
Yeah.
Sure, but we have that now. Think in the least case, and I mean no disrespect, but like 99 Designs and Fiverr, and think about it, like we already have those things in place for people who don't want to spend money on a good logo. They go do that because it's not important to them. You're always going to have people where that is not going to be important to them. And honestly, they have their folks that will work for them. I want to have it where somebody's already gone, you know what? We need a pretty decent budget for marketing and design because this is important to the company or this is important to our product. Let's make sure that we hire the best and we go and get this. And we've already thought about the budget for that instead of going, well, I spent everything I got.
Yeah.
Well, I need a logo and I have no money, but I want to hire the best, but I don't have any money because it's not really that important to you. Like, I think we already have some of that now. Yeah. It's just different. The technology is starting to shift a little differently. And so you're going to have the people who are like, I don't care who made it. I don't care whatever. I need it for such and such, whatever.
You know what?
Does it make sense?
I think, you know, and I'm just going out on a limb here, but I the shit that we see right now, AI, you know, like AI logo generators, AI image generators, all this technology, everybody's talking about these tools that, you know, are going to replace designers. I don't think they're going to replace designers. I think they're going to replace the 99 designs,
probably
the Fivers,
100%.
because those customers, you're just like you said, they don't care about the depth, the problem solving. They just want cost effective, cheap, dirty. So if anything, you know, those are the people that are going to be put out of business, which I remember when all that came into play like 15 years ago and everybody thought we were going to lose out. And we've kind of rise. And it just seems like they've now cannibalized themselves.
Yeah.
So I bet you they're the ones that are going to have to work.
I bet you're right. You're right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 5 years or so.
Yeah. It is. What do you think is going to be some of the big changes in the space?
Who knows? I'm interested to see, just like you. Like, I don't know. Like,
but you are going to be gauging your future guests based on what's going to happen. So you need some sort of crystal ball there, Mike. You need something, man.
Those are the people that I hire that are better than me.
You're just the good looks, okay?
I'm just like, hey, y'all got your ear into the grindstone. You're like, who's listening out for the changes? And I do have people that pay attention to that. Like, there's things that I need to pay attention to, but like those things, I typically like draw into my buddies and like, hey, you know, what's fresh, what's new, what's going on for that stuff. Mainly because I literally only have so much time in there.
Yeah, fair enough. Nice. Dude, what is the future of Creative South? What's the future going to bring us that you can share? More of the same, right? Like more of the same. Good. Probably going to keep it capped at about 500 attendees. Wow. That's really fantastic. 400 tickets and 100 students. Yeah. Wow, dude, that's 20%. That's nice. That's bold. You know, good for you. I mean, well, we want to make sure we're bringing up the next generation and that they have connections to the old timers. Experienced, the veterans of the profession. I think we'll do is kind of keep it. It makes it a lot more manageable, a lot more FaceTime, a lot easier to plan around a budget. If I have a capped number instead of saying we'll sell what we sell. I liked the format of having a band. Personally, I thought that was a fun time. That was great. And so awesome, dude. I might keep that coming just because it was even if the theme is completely out there. I just like the house band was such a good vibe. Awesome. It was great. I don't know. So I think we might keep him around and do that. You know what else is a good vibe? And I know this was by accident, but you know the seating, how it was all mismatched. Yes. Dude, that was cool. That was just I know the story behind that. If you want to share that, that's amazing. It was such a nightmare. I remember going in there and looking at all the seating, and I see old Victorian couches, old Victorian chairs. Everything was so ornate, and it was mismatched, and it was eclectic, and it was. I was blown away. I'm like, wow, these guys pay attention to detail. Please share. Trust me, the attention to detail is. I mean, every little detail matters, right? I believe that. Yes. That was for the particular theme, but because it got so well received, I feel like we're going to keep doing some seating like that. Yes. It's just for that deal to happen, it was like, we're going to drop all the furniture off, like the provider, because I basically rented out everything she had in her warehouse. Like I was like, I'll take all the furniture you have, bring it here. So she dropped it on our door.
And me and Harrison and my buddy Kraus and maybe one other person literally moved every single piece of furniture in place to fit that space. Over the course of like a day and a half, we were moving couches left and right and chairs. And so we got done this year and I was like, man, that was really well received. But like, what a pain in the ass. To like, what a lot of work that was. So we'll figure out a better solution moving forward. But I like the vibe of it. Where it was all about like, all right, how do we keep you comfortable, but also entertained, but also where you're not going to fall asleep, but where you're also there's camaraderie because now you're on a couch with two people you might not know. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of intentionality behind all of that.
Yes.
So I think we're going to keep some of that. We're going to continue to keep bringing some top tier talent to speak and do workshops, and we're going to keep it going as long as God will let me. So and until it's time for me to pass the torch, I'm going to keep doing it.
Nice. Can I tell you a funny story about those couches?
Sure, yeah.
Lord.
One morning, it was the second day.
Did you break that one?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Okay. Okay,
but
good.
Maybe. So I peeked in my head in. It was the second morning, right? And it was before the speaking. And I see Christy, right? Who we talked to the day before, right?
Yeah.
Plus a couple other people that stopped by our booth. And they were just chatting away, right? And I was like, hey, you know what? We got time. I'm going to go talk to them. I go up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I thought I was being all cool and sly, being the the guy I am. And I sit up on the backrest of the couch on the other row. Well, doesn't that sucker flip over and I flip up, my feet are up in the air. I'm looking like an idiot in front of like no dudes. These were all like just ladies and of them, Christy the Queen. And I'm just like, that didn't just happen, did it? Dude. There was no way to smoothly exit that. Just so we know. I'm a moron.
But is there video footage of it from the event?
There isn't.
That would be
great. From the building.
Oh, dude!
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask. I'm like, can you double back for this and see if you see this guy falling?
Angry designer fails. That's what we.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna ask her because the lady that runs that whole entire venue is a dear friend of mine. I'm like, can you double check security footage for me and see if you find this? You might get lucky.
Great. Thank
that would be awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Oh, that's great.
Dude, I can talk to you forever on this, but you know what? I'm trying to be, respectful of your family time and your time and everything else. But before I let you go, we finish every episode with a rapid fire round of questions.
I will do my best.
Yeah. You got that.
Lord. Here we go.
And I mean, these questions, they're pretty safe. They're basically, to give us an idea of who you are, what you're all about, right?
How can we throw him under the bus in 30 seconds? Go.
I wish they were that bad, but we should take them to that next level.
Yeah.
We should.
Oh, here we go.
So 2 minutes. Ready?
I'm ready.
Big Mike?
Go.
Okay.
Here you go.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Paper or tablet?
Paper.
Favorite type of music?
Christian.
Favorite color?
Green.
Morning person or night? Green. Weird.
Wow.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
For now. Favorite childhood cartoon?
Oh, man. G.I. Joe.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, I have to give him that one. Favorite collectible?
Oh, man. I got a baseball that's signed by Del Murphy from the Atlanta Braves.
Ooh, wow.
That he took home and signed it in his house.
Ooh,
cool.
Even better.
Yeah.
Favorite superhero?
Oh, man. Nightcrawler's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
My favorite mouse or stylus?
What?
Mouse or stylus?
Mouse.
Favorite design trend right now?
Ooh. I don't know. All that silent talking with I don't know. Whatever that stuff is on the Instagram.
Okay, let me flip this the other way. Most not liked design trend right now.
Same.
I love it.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
Barbecue or smoker?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Bro, that's not a question. Smoker. Barbecue. You can't put barbecue. Where are we in Australia? No, I'm from Georgia. Barbecue. What do we do? If you're on the barbecue, you're grilling out. Just say grilling out. If barbecue here is always smoke, always smoke.
It's always smoke.
I gotta remember
That is good to know.
It's great.
Barbecue.
Puppies or kittens?
Puppies.
Pirates or ninjas?
Ninjas.
Who'd win in an arm wrestle? You
Me.
or Dan Jansen?
Yeah, Mike, you are the man.
I'm ginormous. Let's go.
I know, but Dan is pretty big too.
He's a beast, but I think I get him. I say, come on, Dan. Let's film it. Let's film it, Dan. I'm calling you out, Dan. When we get together next, we're going to arm wrestle and film it. And we're going to put it on the podcast, and we're going to see. I'm calling you out, Dan Jensen.
Yes.
I hope you hear this.
Arm wrestling cage match.
Let's go.
Okay. Favorite graphic designer, past or present?
Ooh, Alan Peters.
Oh,
Great.
For
Awesome.
present, I love that
Amazing.
guy. And
he's great.
For past, I don't know. Pick somebody. They're all great.
No, he's great.
yeah,
Never mind.
he's good for everybody.
Okay. Waffle House or Chick-fil-A?
Are you serious? Waffle House?
I don't know.
This is a great
They're both
win.
Georgia. I know.
Yeah.
I know, but like Chick-fil-A is that's a good one, but Waffle House, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Scattered, covered, smothered, topped, and diced. Let's go do it. I promise you will not be sorry for that with that order.
Nice.
RGB or CMYK?
RGB.
Serif or non-serif?
Serif,
Wow.
because I really like scripts and I just like it adds character. It just adds some character. I don't know why. I like it. Yeah.
What's your favorite font right now?
Oh, Termina by Fort Foundry.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
stuff.
Illustrator or Photoshop?
Oh, Figma. Can I do that?
Oh, yeah, you
Wow,
can. Absolutely.
okay.
That's actually really great. That goes
Yeah.
along with our next
Yeah,
podcast.
Figma for now because that's what I'm in every day. But I probably Illustrator after that.
Okay.
Rotring mechanical pencil or micron pen?
Ooh, pencil, clicker pencil. Yep,
Cool. AI will replace graphic designers. True or false?
false.
Best smoker spot in Georgia?
Ooh, like for meat.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Oh man, in Georgia as a whole,
Sure.
so many good ones. All right, Fox Brothers in Atlanta is pretty good. Das Barbecue in Atlanta is pretty good. My buddy owns a place in Cummings, Georgia called Socks Love that is amazing, Texas style. Try that. That's really good. If you're gonna go to Texas though, Franklin's 100%. Terry Black's is a phenomenal. You got to hit up Terry Black's. So
Nice.
good.
All right.
So there's some quick ones if you're into it.
Wow.
That's amazing. This is so much better. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh man. Like what's my go-to snacky snack? Dude, I literally could eat my weight in crab legs.
Oh, good.
But
one.
I just don't
Okay,
eat.
fair.
I don't eat them enough. But
Yeah.
I love seafood. But I don't know.
Well, that's a pretty
Donuts.
good one.
Donuts.
Donuts.
Yep, donuts.
Okay, that's a good
Damn.
one.
Yep.
Superpower of choice?
Oh, flying. I guess would be
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
okay.
No, teleportation. Pop, pop. I'm wherever I want to be and
It's even
whenever I
quicker
want to
than
be. There.
flying. I like the
I
way
like
you
that,
think,
man.
man.
Yeah,
Teleportation.
Banff.
Best video game console ever?
Xbox, in my opinion.
Okay. Best
Oh,
topping
current
on a hot
or
dog?
past? Current or past?
Oh, period.
So it's such a tough one. Like current Xbox, past probably Atari.
Yeah. Whoa. So
Yeah.
much more fun.
So much me for sure.
Yeah.
Best hot dog topic?
Oh man, dude. I mean, there's
That's
so
the
many.
tough
There's
questions here.
slaw.
Slaw.
Interesting.
Slaw.
See, I'm a sauerkraut, which would be close to saw.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to try our slaw dog when you come back. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah, we will. Hell yeah.
It's my
all over that.
sister-in-law's recipe.
Okay. Looking
It's
forward
good.
to that one. Last
Yeah.
but not least, one thing that always makes you angry.
Oh man, I don't like when folks are treating other folks poorly in public places.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's a dude treating a woman poorly. I will be the guy that I will stomp you. I will
Yeah,
get in that.
good for
I will
you.
get in
Good
that.
for
That's-
you,
I
brother.
don't tolerate that mess, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Kids, wives,
I just like folks
people.
getting yelled at in public by other folks for no reason. Like I'll step in.
Yeah, good for you.
Not having
Yeah. Nice.
Well,
I don't get angry very often though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you really struggled with that because you're like the nicest dude in the world, man.
I try not to like it takes a lot. You have to really push my buttons to like get me to be pissed off. But then when I do,
I'd be pretty scared of you. As it is, even on a good day, I'm kind of scared of you just based on how tall you are.
No, we all friends here. I appreciate you guys so more than you ever know. I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, listen, you did pretty good on our 2-minute rapid fire round. You hit this at 6 minutes and 29 seconds. I think you are at the top.
It was.
Am I?
Yep, it was the barbecue or the smoker. I think we really tripped you up on that one, man.
I learned so much today about the difference between
sorry.
That's I'm going to buy a smoker now because Mike told me.
I am too.
If you want some recommendations,
Look at this.
I will say
so much to learn.
There's so many good ones, but if you want one that's easy for grilling out and for also smoking meats, Masterbuilt has a pellet, like a charcoal fed.
Yes.
So it feeds charcoal and has like you set it to a temperature and it'll feed charcoal, but you can also put chips down the side.
Nice.
So it'll, as it's charcoal fed, it'll grill like charcoal grill, but it'll also smoke like a smoker.
Yeah.
It's
love
great.
That.
The 540, I think, is the series number. That's what I have at home, and I love it. And also, Masterbuilt, yeah. If you don't own a Blackstone or something like it, add that to your grill arsenal. You will thank me. It's a flat top.
Okay.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love this.
Awesome. Yeah.
Move down to Georgia, man.
Come on, anytime. Y'all are, hey, I got a cabin y'all can stay at on my property.
Oh, come
hang out, sit by the fire.
Right?
You're welcome anytime.
Be careful,
anytime.
Be careful. But we're very similar, I feel, in that sense.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
Mike, man, I honestly, this is exactly what I expected this conversation to be. I'm glad to finally have an hour of your time because I know you're a busy guy, and this is perfect. It's perfect. You are exactly what I hoped, and then more. So,
well,
you're amazing. Thank you, sir.
The physical embodiment of creative self.
Yeah, really.
I really appreciate that.
Your vibe is all that, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I know you haven't officially, asked us to, but we're coming again.
Yeah,
so
we'll be there.
Whether we got to force ourselves in there or
no, I mean I just assumed the spot was going to be continuously open. So you're always welcome. So if y'all want to come do it again, by all means, this is an open invite.
Oh, buddy,
done
honestly,
and done. We're shaking hands right now.
We're shaking hands. We're hugging necks right now.
That's it.
Done for sure.
I can't.
We look forward to having y'all back for sure.
Yes,
dude, man. Thank you. All right. Well, listen. On behalf of all of our guests, on behalf of Sean, myself, dude, I thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
And I guess with everybody else, I hope you guys enjoyed what you've heard today. Where are they going to find out more information about you, your foundation, about the event?
For sure. So you can get event information at creativesouth.com. You can get foundation information at creativesouth.org. Anything about me is probably Bucket826 on all the socials. And at Franks_alley for the hot dog place.
I can't wait. We may have to do something special just for that.
Come on.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yes. All right,
Mike. We need to put a dog on the menu. The angry dog.
The angry dog. Angry Canadian. Everybody will know that's not even possible.
That's awesome, though.
Bring it.
Yes. Help me figure out what that topping looks like, and it's
just cheese.
Well, no,
just cheese
and bacon.
Cheese and bacon.
I'm down. Bacon. And French fries, maybe.
And maple syrup. All right.
Maple syrup. There you go. That can work. Make that happen.
Your bowels will be angry. That's for sure.
Amazing. All right. All right, my man.
Okay.
My name is Massimo.
My name is Sean.
And you are?
Mike Jones.
Stay creative, everybody.
And stay angry.
Peace.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, no, this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some loose shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.